Ajay, thank you so much for joining me. I understand Fintegrate is now in its third year, and the success and growth has really been amazing, so congratulations on that.
Thank you, and yeah, it's been great. I mean, a lot of learning points for us over the last 2 editions. And the good thing is, I mean, if you operate like a startup, you got to be iterative, you got to kind of see what the market trends are like and how it operates and kind of give your ecosystem and your stakeholders what they want. So yeah, trying to improvise on it each year.
Absolutely. So what can attendees expect this year, and what is new?
What is new is, I guess, sitting at the Medici studio is new. So we found it to be, or you found it rather, to be good enough to be here and kind of cover the show, which is great for us. But like I said, I mean, each year there have been a lot of things that we have added on. So for example, some of the things that are new each year is, so for example, this year we have about 45 international speakers. So I've been to a bunch of conferences in India, and I guess to have so many speakers under one roof who are kind of buying their own tickets to come and speak at a conference in India, I think it kind of is some validation to what we're doing. But in terms of additions, so last couple of years we have had something called the F50, which is the FinTech 50. And these are companies that are handpicked or selected through an application-based process, and they don't need to kind of buy a booth, but we want to kind of showcase them to the FinTech ecosystem. But what we realized over the last 2 years was that a lot of companies which are not really emerging or so early on, but still feel that, hey, this is the place that I want to be at, and I want to kind of be heard, I want to be seen and network. They're like, can we buy a booth? And we're like, no, we are not selling booths here. So this year we added another track called the X50 or the Exhibit 50, which includes big companies which are out there and which want to kind of tap into the FinTech ecosystem. But we also have emerging technology companies which have probably raised a couple of rounds of funding and feel that, hey, if there is one show in India that I want to be seen at, this is the one that I got to be at. So the X50 is an addition. We introduced something focused on women in FinTech. So there's a lot of talk about women in FinTech, but there are two sides to the coin. I mean, there are a lot of people who believe that, hey, I mean, you don't need to kind of be gender specific as far as topics go. But globally, if you see the representation of women as leaders, on boards, as FinTech entrepreneurs who are getting funded, I guess the number is not that high. And I guess to make that difference, unless and until you create a platform to elevate people and create that aspirational value, I don't think you're going to get too many people who follow and who understand that there is merit is one thing, but also the fact that there's someone out there to kind of promote you and give you that push, which kind of is going to take you to the next level. So we have the Women in FinTech Demo Night, and we have the Women in FinTech Awards. So the Women in FinTech Awards is focused on women leaders who are making an impact to the banking and financial services industry, but also recognizing entrepreneurs who have kind of broken, maybe not a glass ceiling, but barriers, gone on to raise significant rounds of funding. So things like that we have added this year to kind of expand the show a little bit more. So.
Well, that's great that you're giving those folks a platform. But going back to those emerging technologies, why are startups so critical to the FinTech ecosystem, in your opinion?
Okay, so one of our biggest backers this year and one of the earlier backers is the government of Maharashtra, which is the state government. And about a year back, or probably even less than a year back, they launched something called the Mumbai FinTech Hub. Now, Mumbai, in spite of being the financial capital, if you were to follow how the tech ecosystem in India is, there are a lot of people or flocks of birds migrating to Bangalore. And when you're talking of the industry, I mean different industries and technology, I guess BFSI or banking financial services is one where technology adoption has been one of the earliest. If you look at the Visas and the MasterCards of the world, the original FinTech boys, I guess there needs to be some push given to retain emerging technology in a city which is a financial capital, right? So the government is doing its bit in terms of creating a conducive environment, the policy and so on and so forth. But the better part is that if you look at the industry and the adoption of technology rather than looking at technology as a competition or collaboration, I think that has really opened up the ecosystem. And that's where I guess having something like this where everyone converges, whether you're a policymaker, whether you're a startup, whether you're an incumbent from the industry, whether you're an investor, whether you're an enabler, everyone comes together, right? And that's where I guess we see where the spread is heading out to.
So what trends then have you excited right now, and specifically at this event? What are you excited to see and hear about?
Should I say payment and lending? That would be like too repetitive, but yeah, I mean there's no denying that payment and lending have been the flavor of the season for a good part of last 4 years globally. India is no different, but probably what separates India is that if you look at the middle class, I mean the chasm within the middle class itself is like huge. You could have like 10 middle classes within that. And if you look at another aspect of India, which is probably vernacular, or if you look at the population which doesn't use English as a predominant speaking language, but it could be anything, and it could differ from state to state. I think that barrier of the next 300 million or 500 million and how financial services on the mobile can reach out to these is something which is big. So financial inclusion is a topic that we're trying to address. The other one we're looking at, which is not sexy, not so cool, is probably compliance and RegTech, and
very important.
it's very important, right? And the good thing is, in FinTech in India at least, and probably elsewhere in the world as well, there are a lot many more people who are probably the other side or the better side of their 40s, who have spent good 15, 20 years in the industry, who understand how banking, financial service or regulated industries work, who are quitting their cushy jobs and doing a FinTech startup. I think from an enterprise tech perspective, I think there are lot many more startups in the country which are not dependent on those early stage seed funding, but where they're solving a genuine problem which they probably faced back at their office like a few years back. So in terms of trends, I would say if you look at financial inclusion, it's a major theme. If you look at enterprise technology, whether from a security standpoint, whether people who are building data lake but have problem with data management itself, right? I guess data is a big topic. There are a lot of companies which are not just catering to BFSI as an industry, but to finance as a segment. The application could be multiple industries. The other one is using the phone as a first source of touch point, whether you're talking of EMIs at a point of sale, whether I'm sitting at home and buying something, and how can I make retail experience much more seamless, including, I guess, the original FinTech boys, whether it's a Visa or a MasterCard, but also new emerging companies which are kind of trying to disrupt that space. Insurance, again a topic, and we have kind of put these kind of areas under the collaborate stage. So this is the stage where you're not seeing or you're yet to see too much of disruption happen, but where people need to understand that what the potential is. So financial inclusion, if you look at InsurTech, these are topics that we're trying to address. So it's pretty broad, I know, but we're trying to kind of get in as many people under the roof as possible.
Well, it certainly sounds like you have a plan, and again, congratulations on all the success of Fintegrate. Ajay, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you for being here and interviewing me, and hope you get to see a lot of companies here and they get featured,
and
absolutely. They get spoken about, and they get the visibility.
We'll make sure it happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
From Medici Studio, I'm Shannon Rossick.